We read Harris's plans. She's prioritizing groceries and food, affordable housing and rent. She is proposing that if you have been good on your rent for 2 years, then you should get $25,000 towards a down payment for a house. If you're a first-time home buyer, first generation, there could be even larger incentives, giving out tens of thousands of dollars. Also, healthcare costs. She wants to cut tax cuts in the form of child tax credits. You can get a $6,000 credit if you are a first time child, you've got a newborn baby. In addition to that, we've got Trump saying that he is going to reduce inflation, going to cut taxes. He's going to drill baby drills, cut the electrical costs and energy costs in half. He's also saying he is going to stop double taxation on Social Security and Medicare. He's going to do the biggest mass deportation of illegal immigrants out of the United States to help us. And also, he's going to stop the global conflicts and end the potential of World War III that he is saying has been caused by Joe Biden. So these are some of the things outlined. Again, these articles are linked in the description below. They both seem to lean a little bit left. I try to do my best to get you guys just the facts and information. You can make your choices from there. But now that I've covered these, let me know your thoughts in the comments. 45 for Trump, 47 for Kamala Harris. Let me know your thoughts on the policies that have been presented at this time. Which one do you think is better? 45's pouring in.
Shalom. First thing and foremost, I'm going to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. I'm going to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Blessings and salutations to the whole elect. Nor in this gospel broad, lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is another lesson through the Spirit. I was watching this guy by the name of Steve Ram, and he was going into basically this economic plan, the Kamala versus Trump. It's America and economic plan, which we know that whoever gets in office, regardless, it's all smoke and mirrors. All right. They've been saying the same rhetoric for the last 60, 70, 80 plus years to woo you people back to sleep, but they don't ever do a goddamn thing, especially for you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. So what would be any different? It was one thing that stood out when he mentioned that Trump stated that he was going to pay off the debt, which is physically impossible. Okay, how you going to pay off the debt when your money is not being backed by anything? And then when you talking about imposing more tariffs and taxes on other nations for importing goods, what make you think they're going to support your dollar when they know you can't pay off the debt? Now, saying that you're going to pay off the debt may buy you some time because they may want to see, but overall, they know that your money isn't being backed by anything, so you can't pay off your debt with a bunch of Federal Reserve notes that's basically worth toilet paper. So that's all cap and that's all lie. And then you got this bitch here, Kamala Harris, which is basically trying to appease to you Negroes, mainly you single mothers. And this is what they do. They run a smuck around you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans because they know that you turn up and they know you have the highest percentages of voting. Because not only of the black demographic, the Hispanic or the black demographic or the Hispanic or the Native populace, they include you all in one because they know that you're the people, they know you're the Israelites. So if they feel like they can appease you and win your vote, which your votes don't even count, because when you're looking at those particular modules, when you have the red state, blue states, and they're counting the votes during election night, and one president get up to 242 and the other one gets up to 235, for an example, that's all script. That the elites are controlling all that. Okay, they're not really sitting back counting your votes, but they give you people the illusion to believe that's what you're doing, what they're doing. The elites is controlling that. They're not counting your votes. We got 10 minutes until we close the polls at 6 o'clock on Tuesday. And then all of a sudden the votes are casted in. Then all of a sudden you see the numbers go up. Nah, the elites are controlling that. That's the illusion of having some type of say-so when you don't. Regardless, America's still going to be destroyed, because when you look at hers, it says Vice President Kamala Harris will unveil a new package of economic proposals that she will prioritize our first 100 days in office. The policies includes a ban on corporate price gouging, yeah, right, to lower the cost of groceries and prescription drugs, and they aim to expand affordable housing and cut taxes for the middle class. This is what she say. That's what Biden said. That's what Obama said. That's what Clinton said. That's what Al Gore said. And it turns out that none of them did, or they followed through on these policies. It says Harris' speech in North Carolina is the first policy focus addressed since the overall Democratic presidential ticket. Now, it goes down here. It stated that in an effort to tackle the stubbornly high prices of groceries, Harris will work with Congress to advance the first ever federal ban on corporate price gouging on food and groceries. You're right. It says this would include setting clear rules of the road so that corporations can unfairly exploit consumers to run up excessive corporate profits or grocery staples, according to the fact sheet. So basically, when you go to like these corporations and even vehicle parts, what happens is they destroy a lot of them so they can be justified on marking up these prices when they still have them in inventory. Okay, you have what they call a supply and demand. When you have more demand and less supply, then you can raise the price because technically this is a rare commodity. But when you still have an abundance of these products that's in circulation, but you still price gouge, that's nothing more but usury, man. It's just an added tax. Okay, but it says here, it says this will include setting clear rules of the road so that corporations, can't unfairly exploit customers or consumers to run up excessive corporate profits on grocery staples, including a fact sheet. But to investigate and to penalize alleged violations, Harris will empower the Federal Trade Commission and state attorney generals. Okay, it says here, Harris administration will also take an aggressive regulatory approach to propose mergers on consolidation among the biggest food producers. Now, this is how she's gonna win niggas. Okay, this is the wooing to drilling you niggas, because see, you niggas are still believing in this goddamn system. It says Harris' plan will help cash-strapped renters by blocking data farms from hiking lease rates and preventing Wall Street investors to buy homes in bulk to resell at premium. But they've been buying up all this property and real estate for the last 50 fucking years, man. You know, like when you look at all these new development companies or these new developments, they'll build up these subdivisions in different parts of these suburbs around town, and then they will sell these homes to $500,000-$600,000. You know, when you go to a different subdivision, it all looks the same for a bunch of cheap shit, but it looks the same, you know. But it says here, Harris will also call for the U.S. to construct 3 million new housing units over the next 4 years. But in order to facilitate that, she will call for the new tax incentive for builders who construct starter homes, which is appeasing to you jakes, because also she's talking about giving you first-time mothers or you mothers a $6,000 tax credit, which is going to appease to the nigga woman. So you're going to have black bitches out here getting pregnant, putting their men on child support, and getting a $6,000 tax return on top of what they already get for the other kids. So that's going to win Keisha vote right there, because see, one thing about a black woman, she don't want to do shit but be lazy while calling herself a boss bitch while pressing the so-called black man, man. And that's what these Muppet brain harlots do. Okay, but it reads here, it says any change to tax code require congressional approval and depend heavily on which party controls the House and Senate. But as the supply of entry-level homes expanded, the Harris plan will provide working families who have paid their rent on time for 2 years and they're buying their first home up to $25,000 in down payment assistance, with more generous support for first-generation homeowners, according to the fact sheet, which that's going to be a piece to Jake, because in order to be a boss bitch, you got to own a house. You know what I'm saying? And this is going to appease to those voters, because most Jakes want to own a house. And there's going to be a catch with that too, because once again, there's going to be discriminatory policies in place that you got to fit this criteria, that criteria, that criteria. You got to pay your rent on time, which I've paid my rent on time for the last goddamn 8+ years. Like, you know, 9 years. I don't pay my rent late, you know. That's one thing, is I make sure I have that paid on time. Because if all else fails, you need a place to lay your head at. But there's going to come with stipulations as well. It's going to be with stipulations as well. It's not going to be straightforward and you just pay your rent on time and all of a sudden they give you a house. No, it's not going to be like that. It's going to be harder for Jake men to do so. Okay? Checks, tax cuts. It's all bullshit and smoke and mirrors, man. You know? Now, going over here to Trump's policies, it says Trump lays out economic plan. Everything from cutting taxes to paying off the debt to drill, baby, drill. And if you look at Trump's proposal plan, it's looking more like to appease the economy. okay, because people are worried about where the economy is heading. But as the scriptures say, Babylon is not going to be healed, and we're going to get that. But it says Donald Trump laid out a promise of a broad economic agenda that includes drilling for more American energy, lowering taxes, eliminating inflation, sending migrants back home, saving Social Security and Medicare, and keeping the U.S. out of World War III. Now, this is basically appealing to the Edomites, okay? Because we know the average taxpayer, the average patriotic American, they feel like their country is being overran by migrants, because reports came out that you got migrants getting up to $3,000 a month in food stamps and cash and living rent-free, while your black ass is working 80 hours a week and you can barely afford $1,500 a month rent. It says, and that what was billed as a serious discussion of the economic policy, Trump focused heavily on inflation and the higher cost of living that has ensued during the past 3 years. And he laid the blame for that squarely at the feet of Vice President Kamala Harris, because she was basically over the border policies, the border control, and she allowed shit to get worse. And I'm going to tell you straightforward, if she gets in, things are going to get 10 times worse. Inflation is going to increase. Rents are going to increase. More migrants are going to be over here. More violence, especially among these Democratic-led cities, these liberal cities. There's going to be a shit show. It says, we will drive prices down to make America affordable again, which that's capped because you can't. You're in a $36 trillion deficit. It says Trump said to a full crowd of about 2,500 at an indoor area in Asheville, North Carolina. And it says he even promised to pay off the national debt, which is at $35 trillion, to which he added nearly $8 trillion when he was president. But he honed on inflation and talked about it in a simple terms while laying the blame on President Joe Biden and Harris. And allegedly, Trump's supposed to be going to Rikers Island next month. He's supposed to be getting locked up for his alleged crimes, because now allegedly he's a convicted felon. But yet Joe Biden literally have rape allegations against him by his own daughter, and yet he walks away scot-free, which I don't care for neither one of them. But to show you this is a society that's based on hypocrisy, okay? So real quick, this is the book of Jeremiah 51, and I'm going to start at 7. It says, Babylon have been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, that have made all the earth drunken, and the nations have drunken of the wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. Yeah, man, because when you look at this, inflation is affecting the world. Economies are toppling, all right? More debt is being put on these other nations. Also in Poland, those migrants that's coming from what you call Belarus, basically they got a shoot to kill order. So anybody coming across from Belarus into Poland, they getting gunned down, man, by their border patrols, all right? So because of this administration, they're seeing the opposing effects that this is having around the world, man. War. The world is at war because of the small hats, man. And it says Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her and take balm from our pain, if so she may be healed. Okay, because they want to heal this place, but they're not going to heal America. And the elites know that there's no healing in America, man. And it reads, it says, we have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go everyone into his own country. For her judgment reaching into heaven is even lifted up into the skies, man. Okay. So with that being said, the Lord is headed with this place. Okay. So within this next administration, if there is another presidential administration or whatever you want to call it, this may very well be the last one. Lord's will, you know, because, hey, we're sick of this goddamn place. Me personally, I'm tired of this place. And I know brothers are tired of this place. You know, the few sisters that watch, they're tired of this fucking place. You know, so with that being said, it's like enough is enough. You see, and it says here, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go everyone into his own country. So people are fed up. They're leaving. They're like, you know what? To hell with this place. We don't have time for it. May Yahweh Shemi Hawashai destroy it, man. And this is the mindset of the men of the Lord. Okay. Let's go to the book of 2 Ezra 16, because no matter what they say and what policies they try to woo you people with, it's still a done deal. Okay, America's going to be destroyed. They're not going to get the debt down. Okay, they may attempt to, and they may pay off a couple of billion, but the only people that can write a check to get this place out of debt is the elites, and the elites are dumb at this place. Okay, it's not going to redact. You're going to realize if there is another 4 years, this place is going to plunge more into degeneracy, and I'm willing to bet my best dollar on that. I don't see it going up. I see it going down. Especially when you got this cackling dog that you want to call a black woman running for president. All right, because the bitch is a whore. All right, and she's a cackling monkey. Right along with this toupee hat wearing demon Trump. So both of them can kick rocks, man, because they both are going to be destroyed. All right. 2nd Ezra 16:39. It says here, even so, matter of fact, let's start at 40. It says, "O my people, hear my word, make you ready to thy battle, and that those evils even be as pilgrims upon the earth." A pilgrim is a person that sojourn to and fro, meaning go to and fro. You moving around. You from here, you from there, you from here, you from there. He that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth as one that will lose. So, hey, those of you that's in real estate, business and stocks and trades, at the end of the day, it says, he that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth as one that will lose, because it's going to be a lose-lose situation for both sides. Okay, the only people that's coming up into some type of glory is the elect of the Lord, okay, the elect of Israel. And he that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth as one that will lose. He that occupieth merchandise as he that have no profit by it, and he that buildeth as he that should not dwell therein. So all these policies and stuff they're talking about is just it's all talk. Okay, they can't bail this place out, and we just read it in the scriptures. Babylon is not going to be healed. And he that soweth as he should not reap, also he that planteth a vineyard as he that should not gather grapes. They that marry as they that should get no children, and they that marry not as the widowers. And therefore they that labor in vain, and for strangers to reap their fruits, and to spoil their goods, and overthrow their houses. We're saying this now in the form of this migrant crisis. And take their children captives, for in captivity and famine they should get children, man. Okay? So this place is destroyed. It's going to be destroyed. There's no hill in Babylon the Great. And the Most High is getting ready to finally bring an end to this nightmare, man. So with that, all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. The Lord's will, you will edify. To the next lesson. Shalom.
Is that we're heading towards a fiscal disaster in our country. There's nobody focusing on the debt creation in the economy. In 2017, the national debt of the country, I think, was 17 trillion. 5 years, not 5 years, yeah, it's about 5 years later, we're knocking on the door, 7 years later. So I'm a little slow this morning. So currently the debt is about 35 trillion. It's a growth rate in debt far in excess of growth rate in the economy. I think we're pulling demand forward, and neither political party is focused on this. And I think that's going to be a problem ultimately, but no one knows when it's going to hit. And my second assumption is nothing is overvalued if the 10-year bond belongs at the current rate of 3.9%. I've gone back and I've looked at previous periods of excess. In the Nifty 50 period of 1972, the 10-year government bond was 6.5%. Avon products were 65 times earnings. They just declared bankruptcy. Eastman Kodak went bankrupt 48 times earnings. Well, IBM was 37 times earnings, not bankrupt. Kmart went bankrupt 34 times earnings. Polaroid 90 times earnings. And these were companies that were actively being bought by JP Morgan and U.S. Trust.
Audacious spending spree that the US has been on for a while. I mean, if we just look at the numbers that the US spends on foreign conflicts, for example, right? Since 2022, the US has given $55.4 billion to Ukraine, and Israel $150 billion since the 90s. This, bear in mind, at a point when we heard yesterday that the US's own federal disaster budget has essentially run out of money. It's gone. It's disappeared into thin air, or it's all been spent. It's incredibly worrying. I mean, we're seeing not just government, but we're also seeing large US corporations, companies and businessmen divesting themselves of their own economy. I mean, if we look at Berkshire Hathaway, which a lot of people know, owned by the infamous Warren Buffett, if we look at the numbers there, they've moved so much into cash in this last quarter. They've been selling off half of their entire Apple stock, which is probably one of the US's highest performing stocks over the last 20 years. Half of their stock, which is absolutely huge. Their balance sheet right now, $189 billion they're holding in cash. And that means that's dead money, essentially, Union. That's money that they're just holding that's not being reinvested into the economy in things like government bonds, in things like US stocks, equities, shares, all stuff like that. They've literally just pulled that money out and they're holding basically a war chest. And I think that really tells us exactly where the economy is and probably signs of what's to come. The IMF, let's say, is no real friend to Russia, China, or any of the so-called multipolar world, are forecasting that the global economy, they're saying that, national debt of the global economy, the US being the largest economy in the world, pretty much, unfortunately, every economy in the world is going to follow suit. There'll be a domino effect. 140% GDP per capita to debt ratio, which is absolutely massive. In fact, I think we've got a clip, and we can see of what the IMF are actually warning.
High deficits and debt create a growing risk for the U.S. and the global economy, potentially feeding into higher fiscal financing costs. The ongoing expansion of trade restrictions and insufficient progress in addressing the vulnerabilities both pose important downside risks.
And again, we've seen other countries heed that advice. Say China, a lot of people don't know this, but China holds a huge amount of US dollar bonds. That's basically US debt. China has lent the US government, in spite of what they say in all their, their propaganda about China. They're really in the hole with China. They owe China a lot of money in US bonds. They've sold $50 billion of their US Treasury bonds this summer, which is probably more than they've sold in a very, very long time. And then we've got the other issue of, all of the sanctions the US has put on Russia, putting it now looking like under a Trump administration getting even worse on China, and that's just damaging the economy. More importantly, we talk about it a lot on this program. It's damaging the greenback, the US dollar, which is one of the ways in which the US has managed to stay as the world's largest economy. A lot of countries are moving away from the US dollar and choosing alternative currencies to trade in. So I think it's just pretty bad news if you live in the West.